crisis averted. We are heading into the game. Now I guess I have to let the players know that we are in the game. I don't know if they have paused or not.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift. 30 seconds until minions spawn.
Okay, so just going back to what happened in the draft, looks like the Tom Kench was the blind pick, and then the Smolder plus the Vel'Koz, that was the answer from Chaotic Disposition. So that is very much in style for what they usually run as a team. Just plenty of scaling, plenty of sustained damage going into, later into the game. You have Bekla playing the supportive style. This time on the Seraphine once again. But the Jax mid lane is the most important, maybe not the most important, but the most exciting part of this draft. I guess this was just the next best, most comfortable pick for him. Even if it's not exactly a mid lane pick that we see often, if at all. Like, this feels like a page taken out of Rack's playbook. That had to be a flash burned level 1 by Aura on Fire on the Vel'Koz, and that does create that extra bit of pressure for Best in Slot to play with. Rakan can use his flash to threaten the Vel'Koz if the jungler decides to path in that direction. And it looks like that will be the case indeed. I mean, Chop has already finished his red side jungle. The red buff side of his jungle, and now he's heading towards Wolves. He's just going to path all the way down. And hopefully for Best in Slot, by that point, the wave will be in a position where the jungler can just naturally come in and kind of punish the fact that Vel'Koz is, missing a summoner, the most important summoner of them all. Now Best in Slot trying to thin that wave, just so the minion wave still is in a position where Best in Slot can take advantage. Are they going to deny the crash right here? Looks like the answer is yes. It's not a clean crash for Chaotic Disposition, and it could cause some problems, but now they see Chop coming in. He comes in for the engage as well. The Lilia flash from Chop. The Condemn lands onto the wall, and that will be first blood for Best in Slot. Queen Jiafei came in for the counter gank, but Best in Slot decided to pull the trigger anyway. Very well done. And that is a very clean start to the game from Best in Slot. They burned that summoner on the Vel'Koz, and they take advantage as early as possible. And there's still more downtime on this flash for Aura. So there will be more opportunities. Chop, will he be able to take the skull? Not quite. But that will be that. There will be no more punishment from Chaotic Disposition. It was a 2v1 situation, but they decided not to move forward. Now, Best in Slot will have to play this game with the just being conscious of the fact that Smolder basically has a free scaling lane up top. And it's not going to get any better for the Tahm Kench. And this will be something that they will have to play around. It's either just focus Smolder down first as fast as possible and hope for the best, which won't be that easy if he decides to go for a tankier build with Grasp of the Undying, or you just try and play away from him, try to find windows where Smolder is busy farming in the side lane. They have some engage tools that they can use, but it's not as easy as just pressing R on Sejuani. Queen Jaffe once again covering his bot lane, but Jax is coming in all the way from mid, and he's behind the CHD bot lane. He's going to jump straight onto the Vel'Koz, and he's not going to be able to block any of the damage because his barrier is down. He stays alive, but that is even more pressure going towards that chaotic disposition bot lane. And they're just trying to accelerate spies. And he will most likely be the biggest carry threat going into the later stages of the game. Right now we're still far away from, from that point, but at, at 3 items or so, we could be looking at a very scary Vayne. The question is, how easy will it be for her to play in those team fights with so many ranged champions on the other side who can kite away, who often even have the range advantage over the Vayne. So we'll have to see if spies can successfully team fight even in these circumstances. Wibbly doing very well for himself in the mid lane matchup. Not really all that surprising, honestly. I mean, Seraphine is not that threatening, but CJ has just taken a lot of damage, but Aura on Fire could be taking a lot of damage in response, but oh, that Condemn was not the best. It's just not the best outcome that they were hoping for. Just a lack of communication between the two. The Condemn just denies the Grand Entrance from hitting. And Aura on Fire will survive in that 2v2. Pretty important news for Chaotic Disposition. Now, is anything going to happen around this top lane? The Abyssal Voyage comes out, but Christian Simeone already doesn't have his flash. He will use his ultimate to heal himself back up, but I don't know if he can survive this gank from Chop. There's a lot of damage coming in, and the Shadeless Flash will secure the kill in the end. So they do manage to punish the Smolder. But it does feel like it's still not quite enough, even with this one kill, and also it's not like Tahm Kench can overpower Smolder in the matchup. I feel like the longer it goes, the worse it's going to get. So Tahm Kench is definitely not a champion that Best in Slot are hoping will carry the game for them. Still a pretty calm early game, all things considered. I mean, talking a little bit more about this Best in Slot mid lane pick, it is an alternative approach. It's not exactly a pick that will win the lane super hard, but it is a pick that is just, you know, given the circumstances, it is allowed to scale quite nicely, and the Fat Jax will always be an issue. I mean, there are ways to stop him. He is a melee champion after all, and those champions usually have to commit harder in fights to get what they want. Fat Bruiser is easier to stop knowing that he has to basically come straight into your whole team just to be able to do a lot of damage in the team fights. But even with that information, it's not always easy to stop the Fat Jax. We're gonna see the tried and true Trinity Force from the Jax. No surprises there, but the second item is where I don't know what we'll see from Wibbly. So many items have changed in this patch. Like we're beginning split free, and the biggest change that Riot introduced in this patch is just a whole item rebalance, basically touching almost every single item across the board, and sometimes just not necessarily just turning things upside down, but it is making people have to reconsider what their options are. Yeah, and like I was saying, Bekla is able to wave clear, but he's not necessarily able to stop the Jax from just pushing wave in time after time and just getting to where he wants to be. And it's also best in slot, calmly stacking the dragons as well. It is that third dragon, though, is where things will, you know, really turn into high gear. That's where the important fight will probably take place. If the Chaotic Disposition team takes the third dragon and starts scaling up, then there will be trouble for best in slot in that case. And there are some short-range champions on their side. It has to be said, Chaotic Disposition definitely have the range advantage. And they are very familiar with how the teams like this are meant to play out team fights, but here comes another 2v2 from best in slot. The Lifeform Disintegration Ray, Spies just eats that up with the barrier. We're going to see a stalemate all before Duke of Jamming lands another dredge line. But no kills just yet. Chop is in position to maybe make something happen, but Lilting Lullaby is still on cooldown. He definitely needs that ultimate before they can make anything happen. Definitely, it was to be expected that the bot lane is where we would see most of the action. I mean, best in slot really want this Vayne to be in a good spot heading into the mid game. Jax basically looking towards bot lane after every wave cleared, so Chaotic Disposition have to answer accordingly. Shadeless going in for another trade, but how much he can realistically do in a 1v1? It's a nice lick coming in from him. Heartsteel is activated as well. It actually forces out Christian's flash. I guess he wasn't that aware of best in slot's positioning on the map. Maybe he thought Lilia was actually going to come in for him and threaten a kill, so better safe than sorry for Christian. And we see an Encore whiffing completely from Bekla, and I don't think he realizes that CJ is there, about to pounce on him potentially. Is he still in trouble? It's Spies that could be in trouble next. think Vel'Koz's Q did land, but it's not going to be much more than that. Once again, Abyssal Voyage from Shateless. He's trying to play much more aggressively now that he has that Heartsteel and he has the HP pool to contend with the Smolder Harass, but it's not much that he can do. Nice engage from CJ just outside of vision. Spies dodging very important skill shots. But the Fissure from Vel'Koz will be able to keep him safe, but can the same be said for the Duke of Jamming support for CHD? They actually get a kill on the Vayne, and they also win out on the skirmish on the top side of the map. Chaotic Disposition. Very important moment for them right here. They will lose the mid lane turret. And they might even lose Bekla on top of this. Wibbly is really strong. He's level 12 with a completed Triforce. Bekla has no business being that far up, being in Jax's range. They're trying to dive CJ, but the dredge line will miss. Can CJ survive this? I mean, Nautilus is basically dead to rights. He just needs one auto attack plus the ignite to get the kill there. Vel'Koz will not be able to take revenge without his ultimate. CJ keeping himself alive under tower. Yeah, now that we have a little bit of downtime, we can look at Smolder and how he's doing when it comes to his passive. And he's sitting at 179, which, you know, that is pretty damn good. Usually, you look at a Smolder completed passive threshold in terms of game time. It's probably around like early 20-ish. Early 20-minute mark, like 22, 23 minutes, maybe 24. Right now it feels like he's going to reach that point even before 22 minutes if he keeps this up. And that is a scary prospect for best in slot. I mean, the moment the Smolder groups up with his team and he's, you know, past that execute threshold, things could get dicey for best in slot, and now we're seeing them position around this dragon. This could be the fight that decides the game. Duke of Jamming gets hit with the Swirl Seed, but it does not stop Chaotic Disposition from just going straight into the river. Shadeless does not have his teleport, and now best in slot. They have to make a decision, and the decision is give up the dragon fight. They were not in position to fight in the river. Instead, they could potentially be looking at 2 towers here, but Christian's teleport will deny the second tower take. I feel like this was smart from best in slot, given that their top laner was not even there to assist. Just take what you can get. I mean, Wibbly is still scaling. He's still a potential carry for best in slot, alongside the Vayne. Give him more time and he can definitely do some damage. Christian wants to go for his tower, but he will be denied by Shadeless. Actually, the tower does go down, but now he's in a 1v2 and the Lilting Lullaby will doom him in the end. I don't know if they wanted to give the kill to Chop, but I think they'll be happy with, you know, whoever gets the kill here. Spies has to use his ultimate and his flash just to dodge away. Pretty important cooldowns to be burning, but I guess now that the dragon is already taken, they don't care nearly as much. The dragon will be coming up soon. When you consider the speeds at both teams, you know, how fast they can take down the Baron, I feel like best in slot are definitely the ones who can take it down faster. Now they are absolutely dominating this blue buff side of the jungle, trying to take picks, and they will be able to catch Duke of Jamming with the Condemn from Spies, but the shield from Seraphine keep him alive for a long time, and the Encore is just devastating for best in slot. They went in way too hard on the play, and Chaotic Disposition punished them in the absolute hardest way possible. And that is right after the Baron spawns as well. So Best in Slot, they might have just thrown the game away with this one team fight. Smolder is going to be very happy with this state of affairs. I mean, Wibbly still wants to make something happen. His ultimate will whiff, forces out the barrier and the flash. But that is all that he'll be able to do. Chaotic Disposition, they will take down this Baron, I think, just in time to be able to get away from Wibbly. He's chasing, he wants those extra kills. He won't be able to find the Nautilus, he flashes away. Wibbly does not have his flash anymore, but he wants to keep chasing. Counter-strike, just to be, you know... Yeah, that was definitely over-eager from Wibbly. He felt like he needed to do more there to keep Best in Slot in the game, but instead, he's the one that falls. I mean, Best in Slot still trying to take advantage of this tempo that they have accrued, given that Chaotic Disposition they had to recall. But now it's a dicey situation. Bekla is TPing in, and Shadeless will probably die with the Seraphine Encore available and used on the Tahm Kench. Nowhere to run. Slowed consistently. And CJ way out of position as well. Chaotic Disposition already taken down 2 on their first Baron push. It's all falling apart from Best in Slot. Now, I don't think they'll be able to defend this tier 2 top lane. Yeah, this advantage in gold for Chaotic Disposition will grow significantly, and it may grow even more now that they got a pick on Lilia as well. It's all coming up roses for Chaotic Disposition. Wibbly is still stuck mid, clearing out the waves, while Krishna Simeone is potentially threatening another kill onto the Vayne. Now Wibbly jumping in, but he does not have enough follow-up. He has to be careful here, or he may fall victim next. Ara pushing in another wave. Best in Slot right now, they just don't have a moment to breathe. And now the situation is extremely difficult. Smolder is at 274, so he's way past the point where his execute is activated, and now it's just extra stacks. And you have to think about Smolder, like the way he works is once he fulfills over all the stack requirements, the longer you get into the game, the faster he's able to stack. So the longer you get into the game, the easier it is to get more and more damage down. Now Best in Slot are trying to punish him, but Smolder is just putting out so much DPS in response. Good Encore. Forces out Spies as well. Best in Slot just not able to contend with the damage that's present on the other side. Wibbly still split pushing. He is their strongest member right now. Best in Slot, without him, I don't think they'll be able to team fight. Wibbly's teleport is available. He's suffering quite a bit against this Aura on Fire poke. He decides to jump in, but he's so low on health. I feel like he'll just die to the disintegration rate. Oh, okay, Aura did not even have to use that one. And Wibbly died just now, which means trouble for Best in Slot. They still want to go in for the team fight, but Shadeless will just die for trying to engage. Chaotic Disposition. Cool, calm, and collected all the way through ever since they've taken that Baron. Not giving Best in Slot any chance to come back to this game. And now, yeah, the Super Scorcher Breath, every time it lands on anyone is just... it's so much hurt. We're on to the Nexus turrets. Chaotic Disposition would love to keep things going here, but I feel like, yeah, they have to They have to pull away. Best in the slot, they really want to find at least one pick here. They want to keep going onto Jave. He flashes away. But now the Encore lands onto two very important members of Best in the slot, and the damage coming in from the Smolder is absolutely incredible. They just cannot contend with that, even if they tried. Best in the slot, once again routed, having to run away back into their base. Christian Simeone is not done here. The execute will finish him off at the end. Spies. Just a rough time to be a Vayne player right now. You know, past the laning phase, past the early game, he did not really get to play League of Legends. That's just how the cookie crumbles if you're against Chaotic Disposition. No one has really found an answer against them yet. Lilting Lullaby once again used to try and kill Christian Simeone, but every effort is just falling short. And the dream for Best in the slot is falling apart as well. It's just the Nexus left standing. Christian Simeone completely safe. Pushing out all the damage he can muster. They might even get another kill for the Smolder, maybe even more. But triple, the Execute will not kill because of the Fountain Heal, but the Nexus will die. The most important structure of them all. And Chaotic Disposition undefeated in